to the podcast. Today, I have Justina Johnson, the principal broker for the Heritage Group. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
So today we're going to talk about why agents choose the Heritage Group and what it offers brokers and how Justina plays a role in its vision.
It's going to be fun.
Yes, it is. Before we dive into everything, let's do a little icebreaker.
Okay.
We're going to take a look at some things and see what we prefer.
Okay.
So do you feel like open floor plans are overrated or underrated?
Overrated or underrated? Let's see. Open floor plans.
Or do you prefer an open floor plan or?
I do love an open floor plan, but I will say I feel like during COVID and when everybody was home, people were like, these are great, but you know what else is great?
I need some
walls.
Privacy.
Yes, exactly. And so I feel like we're kind of seeing that a little bit of a change where like if we can have structured areas, we would like.
Well, in the 90s,
areas.
And stuff, I feel like it was more common to have designated areas.
Yeah.
And I really miss that.
I do too.
Maybe I do love the kitchen to living room.
I do too.
Open concept.
Yeah, and the bar areas and yeah.
Yeah, but then at the same time, sometimes I feel like a formal dining room is really nice to have, but other times I'm like, do we really need this?
Yeah.
I need my kids to go do their homework somewhere where they're not asking me 20 questions.
I get like that. And it's funny, this weekend we were talking about it, like the word overstimulated is used so much now, but it is like that. Like I'll be sitting behind me or I'll be sitting in the living room and behind me at the bar, Silas will be there with like the iPad and you can hear that. And then you'll hear another noise like on the other side of the kitchen and you're just like, okay, is he still sitting there? Because if he's not, let's press pause or something, that kind of thing.
That's funny you use that word because I actually bought a sweatshirt off a TikTok shop that says overstimulated. So I'm wearing it almost every day now.
Yeah, that's
I need a short sleeve shirt now that the weather's kind of changing.
Which is a good thing.
I know, right?
We'll take it.
So let's move on. Buying a home in the winter, smart move or bad timing?
I think it's a smart move. I think if you're ready to buy and you have all your ducks in a row, then I think it's a great time to look because a lot of times, that's when the market does slow down just a little bit. Yes. And so you do have a little bit more buying power during that time.
I completely agree. Yeah. Well, and some people might not be as prepared to put their house on the market at that time. Right. But I do think logistically trying to, make a move during that time might also be a good thing for people wanting to list their home.
Yes.
Don't you think?
I do. Yeah, because you really do have less, there's less to choose from because everybody is kind of waiting for the spring.
Yes.
Things to clear up or you just don't really want to deal with showings when you have family and everybody in town.
All the holidays, that kind of makes it a little hard.
Yeah, and two, it's like you almost want to get your pictures done before you decorate and all of those things. Otherwise, you really can tell like the age of how long something's been sitting there.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a good idea. So before Thanksgiving, we need you to get your pictures done.
Yeah. Let's get the pumpkins out of the way.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's do one more.
Okay.
Home staging, do you feel like it is, I said staging. Staging.
I liked it. I was like, I hear you. I got it.
Do you think it's worth the investment or unnecessary?
I think I'm going to take it a different step from there. So home staging, I think, is always good. Anytime that you can set the house up in a way that really showcases what it has. But what I will say is there's a lot of just what's the word I'm thinking of? It's something that agents have said in the past, like almost like you take the personality out of a room. Like there's a lot of older agents that'll, and they'll walk in and they'll say, take down your pictures, take down all of these things. And it's like, okay, I understand the privacy of it, where things like you might not necessarily want pictures of your kids and things, still throughout the house. However, you can take so much personality out of the room. And one thing we have found is most buyers are not visual. And they can't necessarily see something. They need you to show them the potential of something. So if you aren't staging or if you're taking everything out and trying to depersonalize everything, you make it too much of a shell that people have a hard time really seeing a house to its full potential.
And I agree because sometimes you run into this with new construction too.
Yeah.
It's a fabulous house, but it's just hard to tell. Like, where do I put my couch and where do I do this and that? So I do think I agree with you on homes that are occupied. I think that going in and maybe taking some pieces out to make it look more spacious.
Right.
Or depersonalizing a little bit.
Just
like
a
if you
tad.
have if you have your kids' pictures up from kindergarten to 12th grade, that's a little much.
Yes, yeah. I might want to pull that out a little bit. Or, I went in one house one time that I guess the agent had said, hey, some people don't like, they had a ton of mounts, like deer mounts and all different types of animals. So they covered everything with a white sheet. And so when you walked in, there were probably 20 just in one room. And I think we spent more time raising, I want to see what it is kind of
I
deal.
know what's going on.
Is it really that scary? What are we covering up kind of thing? And so it was it took, we were so just distracted by that we couldn't even really look at the house. We're I don't even remember what the rooms looked like.
That's funny. I think in Arkansas, though, most people know that a lot of men and women are avid hunters.
Oh,
here.
yeah. Some of them are does that stay with the house? I wouldn't mind.
I want that trophy back, right?
Yeah.
Not me, myself, but somebody might want that. Well, okay. Now let's get into HG.
Okay.
So why do you feel like some agents choose HG?
I really think it's our culture and the people that God has put at Heritage Group. We just have that family atmosphere. And it really is a place that, obviously every one of us are here to make money and to be able to provide for our families, but it's so much more than that. We really are, our goal is really to meet every agent. Where are you at in your walk of life? How much time do you have to devote to this? What are your goals? Okay, your goals are my goals. Yeah. And so now we're going to sit down and we're going to reach those goals together, and we're going to walk through life as a team. And I think that's the game changer.
Absolutely. And I do think that, y'all have your fair share of seasoned agents and new agents.
Yes.
And so let's talk about why you feel like some people that are seasoned agents choose HG after they've already had a very successful career. What are some things HG offers them?
I think for a lot of what we hear when somebody's coming in is hey, I've done really great. I've done really great in this section of real estate. So I've been able to build my book of business. I've been able to actively sell and to build and to, get the referrals and get the clientele. But then they hit kind of that one level where they're just I'm just in this circle. And so how do I broaden? And so for us, one thing that we're able to do is really sit down with our agents and be let's tell your story, and let's tell your story to everybody so that people feel connected with you and feel like they can trust you and that they want to work with you. And so there's an opportunity when you come and you sit down with us where we're we want to get to know you. And then a lot of times in those meetings, it ends with, what I see and what I think people don't see about you are these things. And so we're really able to help them capitalize on that and to show the public who they are. We're not in the business of changing people. We're just in the business of showing people who, we have great agents and we have great people and all different personalities and all different walks of life. And we just are able to help showcase that to everybody else.
Absolutely. And I couldn't agree with you more. Now, new agents, because there's so many different areas to choose, in the area. So why do you think that they choose HG? I know why I think they do. Yeah.
A lot of what we hear is the training. For us, it's, and a lot of times we'll get a lot of agents that maybe will go somewhere for 6 months or a year and say, hey, I thought I was going to get all of these things, and that's just not what happened. And I don't think, I don't think that's a malicious thing that other brokerages do or that they're selling just a bill of goods that they don't actually have. I just think time and people get busy and it's really hard. And also, those agents have to show up and sit down and things. But one thing we have is we have a very structured training program. So it can be done at your own pace, but when you sit down or when you come into the office to do it with a broker, you know exactly what we're starting on. Okay, so today and in the intensive, we're working on this and we're going to work a file all the way through. We're going to go through every step of what a transaction would be. And then we're going to work on your, building your book of business, and we're going to work on ways that you can communicate with the public and ways that you can, tell people that you're an agent and things like that. And so I think that's the biggest thing is one thing we tell them is when you come here, you're not on an island. You're not, it was kind of a joke. When I started, they would tell you, hey, pick up the phone and act like you're on the phone. And have you seen these things where they talk about the millennials?
Yes.
And stuff? Yeah.
Is it, how do you hold the phone?
How do you hold
this?
Phone? I know.
Or like this?
Exactly. Yeah. But they would say, pick up a phone and act like you're busy. And then they'll take a picture and they'll go, okay, that's your headshot
Yeah.
or things. And then they're like, okay, now go get business. Here's your business cards, go get business. And so for us, it's very important that we're like, you're not doing this alone. Like we're going to equip you and we're going to encourage you. And then we're going to walk with you while you go through these things.
Absolutely. I think y'all really pour into your agents.
Thank you.
And I feel like the Heritage Group has grown a lot since you initially started.
Yeah.
How many years ago? 5 years ago?
Right around 5.
Because I've recently, as you're aware, and I think we've discussed in the first couple of episodes as well, relocated here, but already had my license. I adore y'all. You're amazing.
Well, we feel the same about you.
But y'all pour into everybody and you really help them, which I feel like kind of sets the Heritage Group apart. Market. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Okay.
Like how you feel the Heritage Group is a little bit different. There's so many great brokerages in the area, but everybody needs their own niche, So I feel like your marketing is a little bit different.
It is
do
a
you
little.
Feel that?
I do.
Okay.
We just, for Eric and I, it was, we kind of just both had just so many big ideas and so many things that were like, what we think could really like set the trend or set the pace in real estate, or have you seen this, or have you seen how maybe a lot of times it's a company or a completely different line of work, but the way that they market things and do things, we're like, hey, I think we can take this and do this in real estate and stuff. And so for us, it has just been really getting to cultivate those ideas, and it's just been super exciting, and just we're willing to try things and we're willing to do it, and it's just been such a great way to express ourselves and to let our agents express themselves and showcase the homes and do things in a way that's a little bit different than what's been seen here.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think it helps the agents kind of break out of their shell a little bit, don't you?
Yeah. And it's scary. And I've said that, Erica and I both have very different personalities. And so she's more outgoing. And like when we walk in a room, and especially like when we first started the company, I was like, okay, find the wall and let's stay, let's just stay back here and we'll say hi to the people.
Yeah.
And then she would walk up and start introducing herself to everybody. And I'm like, oh, shoot. Okay. Hey, right. With her. But I was like, this is the best thing because we needed to balance each other out.
Yes, because she helps you too.
Yes, yeah. And I always tell our new agents, because when they walk in and they're like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I don't know if I want to do this. I don't know if I want to be in front of a camera. I'm like, you won't find a better hype person than Erica. Like she is able to see things in people and call it out in them and encourage you to do things that you're like, when it's first said, you're like, that's crazy. I'm not doing that. And then by the end of it, you're like, turns out I really love doing that. And it comes naturally to me and I enjoy it. And
I do think that has helped too with potential clients in the area, your marketing and how you are showcasing listings as well. Yeah. So I think that's helped a lot.
Yeah, it does. A lot of times, I know for me, like when I walk into a listing appointment and I'm walking through the house, I can usually, I want to know from my sellers, like what have you loved about the place? What are the things that, you're going to miss the most about being here? But then also I can say, based off of what buyers are actively looking for, there's a whole other way that we can showcase this property. Like I can't wait for the buyers to see these things. And so a lot of times when our photographers and the videographers come in, that's what we're telling them. Like this is the showstopper. These are the things that we need to focus on in this house. And so a lot of times I think that's what sets us apart when we walk in on listing appointments is we're telling the sellers that like what I see and what I think the buyers are going to love are these things. And so
we can showcase these aspects of this home that I feel like will catch more attention and drive more traffic here as well. Well, I just think that y'all do such a great job with your agents and everything. And, you being the principal broker, can we talk about brokeraging and becoming a broker at HG and what that looks like for someone who's they may already have their brokerage license and they may be looking for somewhere to join and they are thinking, well, I want to do that at the Heritage Group. Or agents that are already there and they want to go and take that next step and do their brokeraging classes. What does that look like at HG? What do you allow at HG?
Well, one thing I always will tell any agent when I'm talking with them is I think you should always further your knowledge base and take the steps to further your career. Like and I know you've talked about this on your past podcast, like maybe brokering's not for everybody and it's not necessarily the role you want to take, but even just to go through the classes and to gain the insight to me is so invaluable. So I would say I'll tell every agent, by all means, go take the broker classes, go take the test. And then from there's so many different avenues that you can decide how you want to do it. Do you want to sign for yourself? Do you want to manage yourself? Do you want to manage a team? Do you really like more of the complexities of the back side of things? Do you want to be more like on file management or things like that? So really kind of the sky's the limit. In the approach we've taken, at Heritage Group, there are some roles, broker roles, that just are natural broker roles that have to be filled. But one thing for Eric and I are like, well, we want to hear what your ideas are. What are you thinking? Is that okay? Is that something that we can do? Is that, approach we can take? And if it is, then we don't want to shoot it down. We want to explore the options and see what there is. So there are opportunities to build teams, opportunities to build, to maybe, expand other locations. We've done that a lot with, brokers who have approached us and things like that. Like, hey, actually that location was already on our radar. So, let's explore this a little bit. And the sky's the limit, honestly. And so we say, if you've got an idea, if you want to further your career, then come talk to us and let's see if it's something that fits.
So there's some freedom there, but they just have to discuss everything with you,
right?
And run it by you to see if exactly that was right. You feel your agents well,
yes,
so whenever you feel like they're ready to take that next step, or during the interview process when someone's thinking about joining the Heritage Group, on exactly what you think you can do to help facilitate them in growth, and reaching goals, and also being a part of the Heritage Group.
Yeah. And sometimes it may be something where it's like, it's not no, not never, just not now, or, things like that. So it's always things where we're like, let's talk about this. Maybe it's, let's get you some more experience. Let's get some more experience under your belt. Let's see how things line up. Let's, see if we're all still a good fit together, all of those things. And we don't ever want to shut anything down.
No, I don't feel like you do at all. So what are some tools and resources and mentorships that the Heritage Group offers for agents that are already there, brokers that are already there, or those that are looking to join HG?
Well, one of the big things that we have is our in-house marketing. So, we sit down with our agents and we develop those plans. Like, here's how we're going to tell your story. Here's how we're going to do these things. And then you have the HG intensive where you're going through all of the training systems. And then we have all of these toolboxes in our dashboard and all of these things that you can access through our website. We've just started doing like the short video training clips. So it's like, hey, I forgot how to fill out this counter, and oh wait, there's a video for this, and I can click into this, and so all of our brokers are taking the time out to do those things. If we're dealing with the file management systems, and there's something, then we'll just pop on and do a quick video of like, hey, here's how hey, I fixed this. Here's how you access this. Here's what you need to do. So there's always something available. We're doing monthly trainings. We're doing in-office trainings. We're doing quarterly trainings on different systems. And then we always want to hear from our agents. Hey, what's something that you need? What are you looking for? Okay, we can make that happen. So we have done things where we've brought in people in other leadership roles from other companies that have talked about like, here's how I time block. Here's how I manage my business. Here's things that have worked for me. And I had a college professor one time just say, if you will come in with an open mind to everything and just be like, if I can get one or two things that I am not currently doing that I think could help me from this, then I can keep building on things. And so that's what we tell our agents.
Well, playing off of that too, off of your college professor, you almost have a syllabus already set for everybody that's joining your intensive, and then these videos that y'all are doing recently that you're referring to are amazing. Because I've been a part of other brokerages and they don't have that. They do have training, which is great, but sometimes it might be the weekend.
Exactly.
And someone might not be like right there available on their computer.
Right.
Now they're always available via telephone. Again, here I am with my telephone, right? And so, but I love that y'all have those videos now that walk you step by step to teaching people how to do those things.
We had an employee that worked with us for a while, and somebody that we love dearly, that she took a different direction, expanding her business. But one thing she sat down and told me, and it was kind of hard to hear when she said it, but she's like, I don't think you understand that it's really hard for an agent to walk in and look at you as the principal broker and say, I don't know how to do this. or you've trained on this, but I don't remember. And I was like, why? I want you to at all times. She's like, but it's like they're letting you down. And I was like, I never thought of it that way. And so for us, it's like, okay, not that we ever our goal is never to be like, so you don't call us or you're not asking for those things, but it is just to equip you where you feel like you're growing in your business and you're gaining understanding. Because a lot of times it's not, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to do it. It's just like, hey, there's a certain process to this and I'm missing something. So if we can give you guys the tools to go find it yourself and then be like, okay, yeah. And then come to us and be like, look, I do have it together. And, because it is. And I was the same way. I think I drove my broker crazy. He would, by the time like we'd get through a transaction, he would just start answering the phone and he'd go, yeah, Justina. And I was like, just talk me through this, through the process and just want to double check that I'm doing everything correctly. And so that's really, for us, our mindset has been, what do we wish we had when we were at that stage in our career? What are the things that would have really helped us? And maybe took less time trying to gain that stuff so we could really focus on building our business.
Absolutely. And I do think that this is great for new agents, but it's also really good for seasoned agents.
It is, yeah.
There's been a lot of changes in the forms with the recent settlement and stuff. And you have agents that obviously would love to do this full time, but initially they're starting out and they may not be able to do it full time. So having that resource to reach out to and be like,
it is
that sparked that, and I remember it now.
Yes, and it's such an overwhelming amount of information that is given to you at one time that when it is time to sit down and write a contract, it's like, oh my gosh, what is it? I know there's steps. What do I need to do? And you do almost kind of blank and you're nervous. And sometimes used to, for a lot of us, like we were handwriting. So your clients are sitting next to you watching and you're like your hand shaking and you're just like, trust me, I know what I'm doing. You're going to be fine, you know, kind of thing and stuff. So for us, we're like, if we can equip you guys and give you that confidence back where you feel like you're still in control of everything, then we want you guys to have that.
I think that's wonderful. I think those are some really great benefits to the Heritage Group. And with you being the principal broker, can we kind of talk about your growth and what exactly your real estate journey looked like and your role on the board?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So when I started in real estate, I really, at first thought, I hate this. Like, this is not for me. I really looked at it. And I think maybe just because of my experience with some past real estate agents or our personal real estate transactions, it was like, it was almost salesy. And I was like, I'm not a salesperson. I'm never going to be a salesperson. That's not my personality. And so I'm going to stink at this and I'm not good at it. And so I came in kind of with that attitude, like, this is not for me. It's overwhelming. And then once I realized it's really about just connecting with the person that you're working with and then meeting them where they're at. And then what are your goals? Okay, I can make those my goals and I can make that happen. I can make those things happen for you. I can cultivate this. I can find what you're looking for and I can help you get to your end goal and put out the fires and fill out the paperwork and make sure that you're protected and do all of those things. So once I realized that, then it was like, hey, I think I might, could start a business.
I like this, huh?
Yes, exactly. Like, I think we could do this and we could do it really well. And then I had worked with a brokerage that I kind of got that opportunity to build a new office and grow it from the ground up and really make a name for them. And so I was super happy doing that and staying there. And then just some things changed, hearts changed, and I really just felt God saying, like, you're not gonna be here much longer. And I was like, oh, cool. So I'm going to go get a salary job because I was a new single mom at that point. And so I was like, great, I'm going to get insurance and salary and, all the things. Like, God's moving me a completely different direction. And then I met with Erica and Rick and Cindy about a project they were doing. And then that conversation quickly moved to, hey, should we all open a brokerage together? And I was like, well, this isn't on my radar. I didn't know. And then when I went out to look at the developments and stuff, I felt God say, you told me you wanted to do this. You just forgot. And I was like, okay, all right. So this seems crazy, but it looks like this is the direction that we're going. And so for me, it was, every step of the way was just how can I grow my real estate career? What can I do to be better? What can I do to be better for my clients? And then there were just little things, like just little kind of ideas and visions where it's like, I think I think if I were doing this is the direction I would take. If I were talking to agents and training agents, I think this is the approach that I would take on this. And so that's really what kind of started my thing. And then one day I got a call from the board office several years ago, and they were like, "Hey, do you want to serve on the MLS committee?" And I was like, "Sure."
Because there are several committees to serve on, right?
Yeah, there are a ton. And the MLS, for anybody who doesn't know, the MLS is where all of the listings go. So all of the cooperating brokerages in the area put all of the listings in the MLS. So it's all of the housing information, the prices, all of those things, and that's where we gather our information to give to our buyers. And so I started sitting on those and, learning all the rules and the regulations and all of that stuff. And I've stayed on that. I think I've been on that committee like 8 years.
That's helpful too for your everyday
really
job
is,
as well. Yeah.
And that was for me, it was like, hey, if I go do this, then I can come back and be like, actually the rules say this or these things. And it also gave a voice because there were some rules I just didn't agree with. There were things that I was like, this isn't helpful for the sellers, and it's not in the best interest of the agents and stuff. So it gave us an opportunity to have a voice and say, we hear you, we want to stay in compliance, but this isn't working. This isn't right for everybody. And so that was the direction that I was going. And then a spot opened on the executive committee, and they had called and said, "Hey, we want to nominate you for vice president." And I was like, okay, yeah, that's
a big role.
Yeah. And so I did that several years ago and served in that position. And the vice president position here on our local board, you're in charge of all of the events. So like the awards events, you're in charge of putting that on, and you're in charge of the monthly meetings. So you're scheduling who's coming in to talk, the luncheons and all of those things. So it was a big learning experience. It was really good. And I think that year I was actually the MLS chair at the same time.
Justina.
Yeah. So it was a lot of fun.
You know how to burn a candle at both ends,
I do. I don't know how to do it any other way.
Right,
apparently.
me either.
Yeah. And so I've stayed in the MLS, and then I've recently came back onto the board of directors, got nominated for a position there and voted in. And then this last year, I've just stepped in as the president of our local board.
And we're so excited.
Thank you. Thank you. And so it's been a lot of fun. For us, the heart of the board right now is there's been so many changes and so many things that have changed with the real estate industry as a whole, that there's a lot of distrust, mistrust with agents and the Realtor Association and all of those things. And so for us, it has been, how do we gain that back? How do we bring that back? And how do we make sure that we are being a voice for our agents and for the agents in this industry? And so that's a lot of what we're doing right now is, hey, what are you here? What solutions can we bring?
Right.
So I hear you. That's frustrating. I understand that. So how can we make that better? And so that's the big focus. That and training has been our biggest focus for this year.
There have been a lot of changes, and it's just making sure everyone that you're instilling your trust, into those potential buyers and sellers as well. How do you feel like your influence at the board affects HG, and how does it help HG?
For me, one thing that is very important is, when you step into a role at the board, you understand that your fiduciary duty and all of your duties is to the board as a whole. And so you're here to help the industry as a whole. So when I walk in, I'm no longer principal broker owner of Heritage Group. I'm just Justina Johnson, who is a realtor as well, and who is serving for the Board of Realtors and helping further their goals. That we have strategic plans and things that the Board of Realtors have to do. And so that's our goal. So I have to take that hat off when I walk in that door and be like, what's affecting our industry as a whole? What's affecting all of our realtors? What's affecting the public? What are things that we can do for that? One thing that I feel like it has helped with Heritage Group is I'm able to walk in and be like, there are so many areas to serve. There's so many ways that we can give back to the community. There are so many things that we can do, and there are ways that you guys can further your knowledge if you want to serve in these areas or attend these trainings or do these things. And so that's where, to me, it's incredibly invaluable. I actually have stepped into a state role this year and serving on the legislative committee with the Realtor Association. And so for me, it's when you guys walk in, I feel like for a long time before, it was like, I don't understand where my check's going, what I'm doing, what are we paying for, what, all of these things. And I feel like I can really articulate that to you guys.
Absolutely.
And say, okay, here, actually, we are, this is what it's for. And this is how it helps us. And these are the tools that are available to us. And anytime I learn of a new tool, that I'm coming back and telling you guys, hey, actually, do you know this is available? Here's the links to this. Here's how we can use these things and stuff.
And that is super helpful, just knowing where to locate some things. And also the knowledge that you've gained just as a person in general, but as our principal broker and serving on these boards as well, I think, again, I'm saying you're pouring into us, but you are from a knowledge base as well.
Yeah, it's very important to me, because one thing with being on the board is there are a lot of brokers that are in there, brokers and realtors that have been in the industry a lot longer than I have. And so a lot of times I'm sitting at the table and they'll say, well, in my business, we do this. And I'm like, oh, noted. And so I'm, like, hey, actually that's
gathering all that additional information
that's not something that that's not even an approach I've even looked at. And so for us, it puts me at a table with people in the industry where a lot of times you don't really have those conversations. You're not really sharing those things. And so I can come back to you guys and be like, we still have the same end goal, but here's a different approach that we can take to get to it. So my approach may be this way, but your approach may be this way, and we can still get there. So for me, it's like if we can bring as many tools and as many paths as possible to get there, then it allows all of us to do what comes easy for us, and hey, this resonates with me, and this is the direction that I'm going to go for it.
Absolutely. And I do think that, it is important to cultivate good relationships with other brokerages, other agents, as well. And I think that you do that anyway. But having those conversations with them at these events and meetings and everything also really helps facilitate that.
It really does. Yeah. And to really understand that there are other really great brokers and realtors in other companies and stuff that have a great knowledge base and have experience that we don't have done things in a different way. And so it's maintained a great relationship where it's easy to pick up the phone and call them and talk about something. Like if we've got a deal that's, kind of falling apart, I'm like, hey, I know the broker, let's just make a phone call first.
Right.
And let's, we can work this out. We can all talk through this kind of thing. And so that has been really great. And two, it's been a way to hear, like, we don't always agree on things. We all have different mindsets. We have different ways of seeing the industry and stuff. But it's been a great way to be like, but I have used my voice. I have been able to say it. They may not have voted that direction or things like that, but it's like, but we are trying, and we are trying to make the industry better. So when we walk out of that room, it's like, okay, we are doing things, and we are really trying to further the industry as a whole and to help our group, our board, our local board get the results that we need.
Yeah, absolutely. So kind of moving on from that, let's talk a little bit about where HG started and where we are now.
Yeah.
And Joe and I kind of touched on this a little bit in one of our episodes, but the building, the new building and stuff. And I know that I mentioned this before, that it can be kind of intimidating.
It is, yes.
But the people inside are amazing.
Right,
So I just want to kind of get your take on it. The door's so heavy.
Oh my gosh. And so we get a lot of feedback of like, oh my gosh, the door, like, how do you even open this thing? And I'm like, it's a great question. You'll get really strong muscles, the more you open and close it. But it is one of those things where it's a beautiful building, and Rick Mooney Construction did an incredible job, and Erica and the design process and all of those things. But for us, it still has the feel, because when we started in one of the Porches houses. We that was our home base, and so we had different rooms where each of us had offices, but we would all end up at the table. We would all end up like grabbing our stuff and working together, and so that's something that's been important to us even here.
It's kind of the culture.
Yes,
too.
it is.
We love that,
right? So we, even when we moved to the first commercial space. We still had offices, but we still had the big agent space and stuff where everybody would end up. And so that was important to us here. Like, we understand we've got to have room for growth. We've got to have agent office space and things like that, but we still wanted to maintain that culture. So that's why we have the giant conference room that everybody can come in, and then the agent space where it's just a giant table, because there is times where you just want to sit down and be like, you're making phone calls or you're writing cards, I'm going to sit next to you, or you're updating your file, then, you kind of sit next to each other. And I think too, sometimes when you're doing the things that are intimidating to you, like making the phone calls or having to have a hard conversation with a client, when the person next to you is kind of doing the same thing, and then they get off the phone and they're like, that wasn't so bad, then it's like, oh, okay, I can do this,
But don't you feel like you have those spaces when you need to have those hard conversations and stuff?
Yes.
Or you feel like you need to kind of step away and have more of a more of a productive time. But
Focus,
honestly, sometimes, you know, sitting along with someone is productive.
There's
and the collaboration.
Yes. Yeah.
So, yeah.
I agree.
I love that space too.
Oh,
so
me too.
I think it's good. Do you feel like there was a specific vision or purpose behind the way that y'all built it? Or do you feel like you kind of already touched on that? Just like the collaboration and
I think for us, it was something, you know, I think Eric and I kind of have a joke because everybody's like, you guys are everybody's so put together. And we're like, oh, we're put together like the first 2 days of the week. and then it's quickly Heritage Group sweatshirts and hats and, you know, that kind of thing. And so I think that's kind of how our building is. Like on the outside, like we want to be polished. We want to be put together and we have a vision and we love design and we love the different buildings. And we wanted something that was completely different than, you know, what anybody has seen here. But at the same time, we're still us. And so you want the beautiful, you want the over the top, but you still want to maintain your approach, that we're still approachable. So it is, I feel like that building perfectly embodies that. Like it's a gorgeous building. The spaces are beautiful. Every one of our offices has a different personality and really kind of shows who we are. But at the end of the day, it's still like it's home and it's still a place where our doors are always open. We want you to come in. We want you to sit in our office and hang out. We want to come out and sit in the agent space with everybody and be more of that family atmosphere.
Well, and you want to be able for people that are maybe they don't live in Fort Smith, but they've heard of the Heritage Group.
Yes.
And they're driving out in Heritage Village and they're thinking, oh, you know what? These porches are amazing out here.
Right.
Or that phase over there in Heritage Group that you've got a house pending in right now and a couple of lots available and they're interested in living in that walkable community. And you want them to come in, push that big old black door in and come on in and talk to us and let us know what you want, you know?
Right, yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about team building and stuff at HG. I feel like those communal areas that you were referring to in the conference area and the large table in the middle helps a lot with that.
It really does. Yeah.
And you have agents that are in roles that are also helping new agents come in as well. Can you kind of tell us about that a little bit?
So there are different leadership positions that we have, you know, placed people in and we've evolved as we've grown and stuff. And so for a while we had what we called like lead agents. And so you kind of, if you want to look at it from the approach of almost like a small group approach. Yeah. So for us, it was Eric and I are only two people. And so when you're dealing with the day-to-day and the people that are coming in, we were like, how do we ensure that other agents don't feel like they're on an island or that they don't, you know, like that just out of sight, out of mind. And so we cultivated, you know, this group, these leaders that would reach out and be like, okay, a couple times a month, we're going to go do these things and we're going to go have coffee together and we're going to sit and talk about the highs and lows of real estate. What are you dealing with? What can I help you with? What are you struggling with? You know, what are those things? Or, hey, let's go knock on a neighborhood. Let's do a group of open houses or things like that. And so from that, you know, we've kind of expounded on that with our brokers, you know, being able to broker a team of agents and then our other branch locations and things. But there's just a lot of opportunity for team building and for growth and to really a lot of things have just kind of naturally, like you'll hear from several of them, like 3 or 4 of us are going this direction. Today we're going to do these things and stuff. And so it's, to me, it's been an opportunity for relationships just to build.
Yes.
And for just that strength in numbers.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit about being a broker and building a team, but what does that look like for an agent who may want to build a team?
Yeah. So we have a lot of, we have recruiting opportunities where we pay a bonus to our agents when they recruit other agents or new agents or things, because to us, in our opinion, I can tell you why we love HG. I can tell you the heart of why we built HG and all of those things. But to me and Erica, you guys are our best people to say, there's a reason why you're still here. There's a reason why you guys picked Heritage Group. There's a reason why you still love Heritage Group. So we wanted to give our agents an opportunity to cultivate that and to bring on people that are like, hey, actually, I think they'd be a great fit. I like working with them. We'd really love to see them there. So we've established just recruiting opportunities for our agents to get a bonus. And the reason why we took the bonus approach more so than there's other companies and stuff that have a structure where you kind of get paid off of anybody you recruit. what I found in the past companies that I worked at was sometimes I would get someone who'd walk in my office and be like, is so-and-so making money off me? Because if so, I don't know if I'm comfortable with that, because, sometimes you would get a situation where they're like, yeah, they told me to come here and they told me they were going to help me. And then once I got here, like I never see them. They don't talk to me, kind of thing. And they're like, so I don't really like hearing if somebody's made money, or is continually making money off of me through this process or things like that. And so for Eric and I were like, how do we keep that from happening? And so we're fully transparent. Like they'll receive a bonus, for recruiting you. But allows that person to not be tied under somebody unless they want to, so that they have growth opportunities and they have opportunities to build a team on their own as well.
So for agents that are wanting to recruit, what are some key components that you think that they should really consider whenever they are approaching people and trying to recruit them, and what that process kind of looks like?
In my opinion, I think your personal experience is always going to be your best way to really connect with somebody and be real with somebody. So for you came in and you were already established as an agent. You already had the knowledge base. You already had an understanding of the contracts and things like that. But what you were looking for was who can come behind, what's a brand that can come behind me and help me build my brand on top of it and be more of just the foundation behind me to help me reach my goals. And so in my opinion, that's your best approach, to tell somebody that, hey, you look like you've already started, establish your business and you're working really hard. Let me tell you why I made the decision to come here and what it is how it has helped me further my business and grow my career.
Let's talk about, since we're wrapping up a little bit, let's talk about HG's top 5.
Yeah. So for us, one thing, obviously all of our foundations, everything that we've built on the company is always, it goes back, it's scriptural. It's one of my favorite scriptures in the Bible is in Jeremiah, and it says, when you're standing at the crossroads, go, and you don't know which way to go, you go back to the old ways and the tried and true ways. And so one thing that, you learn is like you keep a vision in front of you, but also it's so important that that you learn from the people who stepped into these roles before you, or the people who have built businesses before you, and give people a way to measure and give people goals. And so for us, like with, growth and humility and integrity and all of those things, we want those visions plain. We want it where everybody can see it and is like, what are the ways, what are the top focuses of Heritage Group, and what are the approaches that we're always going to take? So we're always going to focus on growth. But for us, growth doesn't mean numbers.
Right.
Growth doesn't just mean sales. That's a huge part of it. Everybody wants to, but there are so many other ways to measure growth. And so for us is like, are you growing personally? Are you growing, with your family? Are you growing your business? Is your business running you? Are you losing yourself in the process of building your business? And to me, all of those things are personal growth, things that you have to focus on every year and you've got to reflect on. And so that's why growth is one of our key things and something that we focus on. But to us, it's not just about the numbers.
No, it's not. And y'all do really focus a lot on making sure that everyone is having family time.
Yes.
And that's huge to have that from a company.
Yeah, it is. Because real estate is one of those things when it's big and it's growing and you're busy, you've got to run with it, and you've got to cultivate it, and you've got to work the clients and stuff. March through October, that's usually a very busy season. But you also have to set boundaries and have time and not grow at the expense of your family, and not grow, because I think we want to model those healthy behaviors for our kids, and we want them to always see that they're top priority. But we are building a legacy for them in the process.
They need to see their moms and dads working hard, but
Right,
also
right.
putting them first.
Yes,
And y'all
yeah.
do a great job of doing that.
Thank
Can we
you.
talk about the concierge service that is a huge thing that the Heritage Group really prides itself on?
Yeah, so there's a passage in Isaiah where he's talking about that people were doing things in ways like it was in a way that was you're just doing it to be seen, and you're doing all the things the wrong way. And then he says, this is the type of fasting I want. And one of the scriptures says, lighten the load of those who work for you. And I was like, got it. I can do that. And so that's where the concierge mindset came in place. What can we do for our Heritage Group agents that takes the load off of them so that they can keep pouring into their clients, into their agents? And so that's where that came from. So it was, hey, I can help you on the back end. You've got a upcoming closing, then do you need help with your closing gifts? Do you need help with your files? How can we help you with those things? What things can we take off your plate or lighten the load off of you so that you can focus on growing your business and growing with your clients and all of those things?
I think that's wonderful. A great takeaway. So the Heritage Group is here in Fort Smith.
Yes.
Technically, the office is in Barling.
Yep. We're right. One side of the street is Fort Smith. The other side of the street is Barling.
Yes. And then you also have a location in Fayetteville.
We do. Yeah. We do. We're right on Mission in Fayetteville. And then we have a location in Van Buren as well on Webster Street.
Yeah. So how would you tell anyone who's looking to join HG exactly how to connect with the Heritage Group?
We are on social media, so you can message us on Facebook, on Instagram. You can contact us directly through our website, or you can call our office number at 479-806-5955.
We want to see your growth as well.
Yeah,
so we hope that you consider the Heritage Group. And thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having
I
me.
appreciate it.
This has been a lot of fun.